Have you ever wondered why some high achievers keep chasing success, even though it feels like they have enough? In this video, you'll find 5 signs as to why you're addicted to achievement and how it slowly destroys your happiness. Most successful men think their drive is strength, but it can slowly become the thing that traps them. Working with many high performers over the years, I noticed a pattern that surprised me. What happened was that they weren't driving themselves through inspiration, through passion, through purpose. They were driving themselves through this sense of achievement. They'd become so addicted to the experience of achievement. They weren't happier, they weren't calmer, they weren't more connected, but the drive kept going. And when I started working with them, it was fascinating to see the possibility of a different way. At first, achievement feels amazing. You start to win, you start to grow your business, and people start to admire you for it. And that was my experience. I built a very successful legal practice. Yet what I noticed is the chase, the hunt, the hustle, it was overriding my joy, my experience to connect with my wife and my children. And whilst I was getting the external recognition, the business was growing, in the community people were validating how successful I was, internally, I was feeling more and more alone, more and more disconnected. And ultimately, when I was going home, it was operational, it was running it like a business, and again, I was looking for the achievement as opposed to the experience. By the end of this video, you'll recognize 5 signs as to why achievement has become your identity, and how out of that, what happens is you start to lose connection with yourself and with your family, and whatever you're looking for, you're not going to experience true freedom. The first sign that you're addicted to achievement is when success becomes the only way you feel valuable. What happens is that because our validation occurs and our sense of self-worth and self-value so much on success, building the business, winning the deal, creating the opportunities, what we notice is that out of that experience, it's the only way we get to feel self-worth and self-value. And again, if you're living that way, the first step is to have awareness. Because once you have awareness, you start to realize that all I'm doing is being driven by this illusion of success. It's the external validation that's giving me a sense of value and worth. And it's not sustainable. Because when the deal doesn't close, when the bank account's not what you think, you can go into the collapse. You can go into the not good enough. And so it's a key sign as to whether you're being driven by success and addicted to success. The second sign is you struggle to be still or to rest without feeling guilty. Because out of this addiction for success and achievement, what happens is that our nervous system and our thinking mind is wired for activity. We're constantly moving for the next deal, for the next hustle. And what occurs is the dopamine comes, the hustle comes, the nervous system kicks in. And of course, when that becomes addictive, when it becomes a pattern that you can't unplug from, the thought of being still, the thought of actually being with your feelings is so uncomfortable that we have to keep achieving success, keep moving forward. And so if that's you, there is another way. The third sign is that your personal relationships feel more like responsibilities than enjoyment. What occurs is that because we're living in this achievement addiction, we're constantly wanting to achieve, we think we've got to apply that at home. We've got to apply it to our marriages. We become performance driven. How can I perform better? How can I achieve more? And the same with our children, the same with our house, all of those sorts of things. So if that's you again, it's just a signal giving you a cue that somewhere you're getting hooked on this drive for success. The fourth sign is, no matter what you achieve, almost straight after it, you feel a sense of low and your energy drops. And I've seen this so many times with my clients because we're so driven for the hunt. Again, the masculine's driven by the dopamine, the challenge, the chase. And we think that once we get the prize, we're going to experience a level of freedom, a level of euphoria, and it's so short-lived. And this is because psychologically, what occurs is that we've put all the gratification outside ourselves. And what happens in our nervous system is the nervous system suddenly goes, hang on a tick, the dopamine, we're getting a win here, the adrenaline, the cortisol, and suddenly we stop. We've achieved it, and the nervous system goes, okay, that wasn't it, what's next? Because we haven't cultivated oxytocin. Yeah? And oxytocin is a very different experience to just being driven by dopamine. And again, an integrated masculine can have both. The dopamine, delayed dopamine, and the oxytocin. So having worked with many, many elite athletes, I noticed this often. You know, I worked with an Olympic medalist, and she said to me the day after I won the gold medal, I've never felt so low and so depressed. And you've got to realise that she'd spent 15 years of her life chasing this achievement, thinking it was the Holy Grail. She'd done everything, you know, the performance, the willingness and the discipline. And she was shattered, yeah, because that euphoria of standing on the podium, yeah, feeling the external recognition, all that she'd done, yeah, it was like the rug was taken up from under her. And it really took her a while. And I've also seen this with many, many elite athletes who retire, you know, working with a world champion surfer. And again, she said to me it took her years when she retired because her sense of achievement, her sense of purpose, all that drive had gone and she didn't know how to replace it. The fifth sign is when your whole identity, your self-worth is caught up in your role, caught up in your performance. You don't know who you are without that. And again, this is cumulative. It's not something that happens overnight. What happens with achievement addiction is because we get so much external validation, so much instant gratification, we think the more I do this, the more I perform this way, the more my identity is to be the best salesman, to be the CEO, to close the deal, the more I'm going to feel fulfilled and happy. And in doing that over and over and over, we achieve a level of success, but we go further and further away from our true selves. Our true selves can sit in stillness, can still play with our children, can connect to our beloved. Our true self starts to experience true freedom instead of this addiction to success. So working with a lot of high achieving men, often when they start to work with me, they start to recognize that there's a bit of a pattern here. And the good news is that any addiction, any pattern, any habitual behavior can be unwound. You can have a different experience. And so I approach it at 2 or 3 different levels. Firstly, getting them to find a way to just get more present and calm down, particularly the busy mind. It may be uncomfortable, but usually that's where the growth is. Secondly is what you believe you experience. So because this conditioning is in our subconscious mind, the belief is I have to perform to be valuable. And so we start to explore that. Yet fundamentally, the biggest shift, if you really want to create change, 85% of change comes from the neck down. So cognitive change, just doing belief changing at an intellectual level will not create sustainable. The work I do, the practices I teach with many, many clients and the work I've done with myself is how can I make change sustainable? How do I embody change? Because once I do, then instead of being addicted to achievement and addicted to success, I can do it out of fun, I can do it out of contribution, I can do it out of purpose and impact. And that's the difference. What you've done isn't bad, isn't wrong. We don't throw the baby out. What we do is realize I can still behave that way, but from a very different place of being. That's the shift. So there's a link in the notes below where we've created an achievement addiction scorecard where you can very simply map how you're traveling in your relationship to achievement. Ultimately, what's on offer is the ability to achieve and make impact, but not be addicted from this place of busyness.